second chapter, verse 11. I read out of the NLT. Job, chapter 2, verse 11. Job 2, 11. And it reads, when 3 of Job's friends heard of the tragedy he had suffered. I pause, stay right there. I pause to let you know, just in case you've never heard about Job, just in case. Job was a wealthy man, very wealthy. At this particular time, one of the wealthiest men upon the land. Job was sitting, minding his own business, just like some of us do occasionally, just minding our own business. And the devil comes along, and God says, where have you been? He said, oh, I've been here and there, just kind of seeking whom I may devour, whom I may aggravate, whom I may tempt, or test, or try. And God, being God, that has enough confidence in his people. I want to just pause right there and ask the question, does God have enough confidence in you that he can send the devil, hello somebody, to try you and know that you're going to still be on his side? He tells the enemy, tells Satan, he said, have you considered my servant Job? He said, yeah, but you got this little hedge around him, you know. Job's one of them untouchable saints. Seems like everything he touched turns to gold. Every time he turns around, he's blessed. You ever met somebody like that? Just every time you turn around, they're just blessed, just blessed. Aggravates you because it looks like they'd get all the blessings and you get none, just blessed. Job was that kind of guy. But when God said to Satan, take the hedge, I'll take the hedge from around him. He said, but one thing you can't do is touch the soul. Abba, Father, I belong to you. Everything that I have belongs to him. So we find that Satan strikes Job, and one story after the next said something happens. One story after the next, he lost his cattle, he lost his sheep, he lost his goat, he lost his children, he lost his house, he lost his land, one thing after another. As one person said one thing, yet somebody else came to give him more bad news. And on top of that, you would think that that was enough grief for one man. Then the enemy strikes his flesh with a disease and boils upon his flesh that he was unrecognizable. So we go to Job, the second chapter, verse 11, now that I've painted the picture. When 3 of Job's friends heard of the tragedy he had suffered, they got together and traveled from their homes to comfort and console him. Their names, Eliphaz, a Temanite, Bildad, a Shuhite, and Zophar, a Naamathite. When they saw Job from a distance, they scarcely recognized him. They could barely recognize him. Wailing loudly, they tore their robes and threw dust up into the air over their heads to show their grief. Verse 13, our final verse. Then they sat on the ground with him 7 days and nights. No one said a word to Job, for they saw that his suffering was too great for words. They saw that his suffering was too great for words. Many people that believe in God many people that believe in God, they believe that God protects them from trouble. So when calamity comes, many people believe it. When calamity comes, they question God's goodness. They question his justice. They question him in general. Because, you know, he's a God that always blesses. He never curses. He's always giving, never taking. That's the mindset of most people. They believe that God always gives and he never takes. I got a couple scriptures I can share with you. Let you know that God giveth and God taketh away. The question comes to mind is, why would you think that he's only a giving God and not a taking God? If you've ever read the Bible, you'll find that as people tend to do what they want to do, he would take things from them. So the message of Job is that regardless of what is going on in your life, don't give up on God. That's the whole message of Job. If you read the entire book, you will find that regardless of everything that Job went through, he never gave up on God. Never gave up on God. The Bible declares that even at some point, Job told his wife, said, listen, you sound foolish if you think I'm going to curse God and die. But he fell on his face and worshiped at that moment. Have you ever thought about worshiping God right in the middle of your test or your trial or the circumstances you're dealing with, the pain, the agony, the thing that's bothering you? It's okay. It's okay to give God praise when everything is going good in your life. But what happens when things are not going so good? You know, when your money looking funny and your change looking strange, when people looking at you like you crazy, what do you do then? I just want to give you some food for thought today. I might not ever yell at you today. Aren't you glad? I heard you. So you got to understand there's so many things that can cause you to want to throw in the towel and give up on God, but that's the wrong time, especially when you're in the middle of it. Right in the middle of it, we learned, I believe it was Thunder Thursday, this past Thursday, we learned that in the middle of things is when you really should say, God, I need you to enlarge my territory. I really need you to position me so that I can be prepared for the thing that I've asked you for. A lot of us have asked God for bountiful blessings, but we're still living in a one-pup tent. You've got to learn that if you ask God for an abundance of things, you've got to open up the door, spread out, take your stake and move it over. Expect what you've asked for. The last thing you want to deal with when you're going through are people who have never experienced what you're dealing with, trying to tell you how to get through your situation. Since 2008, my wife has dealt with something called CRIPS or RSD. Look it up. Don't have time to tell you about it. But I can tell you this. One day is different from the next day, and I'm not an expert, so I've learned not to try to tell her how to deal with what she's dealing with. I'm learning how to be like Job, friends. Just don't say nothing. Sometimes not saying nothing is a lot. Sometimes not saying nothing is a lot. So Job's 3 friends started off in the correct manner, not saying anything upon their arrival. The Bible said they screamed, they yelled, and ripped their clothes, and threw dust up in the air above their head to show their grief, their pain, their agony. And then they sat by Job. Just sat there. What they should have done was begin to pray for him. What they should have done was say, well, look, Job, while we're here, we're just going to pray and fast. We're going to fast and pray. We're going to reach out to God and see if he'll answer the prayer for us. As to why you're dealing with what you're dealing with and why you're going through what you're going through, is there anything that we can do, God, to help our dear friend out? So I take for a very quick thought this morning, what about your friends? What about your friends? Will they be standing around? What about your friends? What about the people that you call friends? What do you think would happen if you called your friends at this moment and said, look, I'm broke. Can I borrow a couple dollars? Some people will look at you out the side of their eyes. They hear you, but they don't react. You ever ask somebody for money and they act like they don't hear you? You call them on the phone and you ask for some dollars, and all of a sudden you get disconnected. Hopefully you don't have them type of friends. Friends are supposed to be there to have your back. That's what true friends are. We taught our children growing up, you don't have real friends, you have associates. Because a friend, the Bible lets us know, should stick closer than a brother. Now that's pretty close right there. That's pretty close. That's to stick closer than a brother. I'm a friend. I stick closer than a brother. I'm there when brother can't be there. I'm there to help when nobody else is there to help. What about your friends? I'm almost done. Let's go to point number 1 so we can go home. Point number 1. Point number 1. Dealing with issues. Oh my God, from Zion. Dealing with the issues. Dealing with the issues. When we talk about this story, dealing with the issues, here's what comes to mind right here. When dealing with the test and trials, we must recognize that these things only come if God allows. And if he allows it, it's because he knows how much you can bear. If you're dealing with an issue or a situation, you're dealing with an issue and a situation because God has allowed it. Amen. And if he has allowed you to go through a thing, it's because he knows that you can handle it. So please do us a favor and stop praying. Please do God a favor and stop praying that prayer. God, I can't take no more of this. If I have to go through this one more day. I've given you the scenario. You said that prayer last year, and you're still praying the same prayer this year. Why don't you just give him praise for what you're dealing with, what you're going through? This brings people, this is a test that builds character. It's a test that builds faith. It's a test that builds trust. It's a test of a strong foundation in God. It's a test of a strong foundation in God. When we're dealing with issues, these things happen to make us strong. If you never went through anything, you're never going to be anything. Heard an old preacher say, if you never had a test, you won't have a testimony, right? If you've never been through no mess, you'll never have a message. You got to go through something in order to be something. A lot of times, people of God, you are affected just because you're connected. Uh-oh. What you saying? You go through because I go through. Oh, you don't like me today. You're blessed because I'm blessed. Yeah. If you're connected, you got to be affected. There's something that rubs off. The Bible lets us know as they poured the oil upon Aaron's head, it ran down through his beard into his garment. If you're connected, then everything that God bless, he pours over into you. All of us have struggles in life, but how do we deal with the struggles? Some of us lean and depend on sister and brother, and some of us lean and depend on friends. But I have a friend in Jesus. I have a friend in Jesus that sticks closer than anybody else I know. I have a friend in Jesus who died on Calvary for me that I may have a right to the tree of life. Point number 2, we're moving. Point number 2, I told you I'm almost done. They told me don't preach long this Sunday. Point number 2, know who to tell. Know who to tell. When you're dealing with some issues, you got to know who to talk to. You can't tell everybody everything. There's some folk, you can't, no. You can't talk to them. You can't talk to them. You can't even sign language that stuff to them. Don't tell them. Don't tell them, because I'm telling you, once they find out your business, everybody on the street corner know. Child, I went over to Sister Lightbulb house the other day. Let me tell you about her. She dealing with some struggles, and then got the nerve to talk about she know God gonna bring her out. But I don't know. I don't see it happening. I don't see it. Child, look, if I was you, I'll pray for her. People will take your words and try to call themselves helping you. Some people can't handle the stress that you deal with, and it's best that you not tell them what you're dealing with. I'm just going to be honest. There's somebody that asked the question about what Lady First deals with, and I said, you really don't want to know. Oh, I really want to know. You really don't want to know. And as we begin to tell them, I said, look, better for me to just text it to you. So we pull it up on the screen. Somebody at work asked me the other day, and so we Google what the word Crips is, or RSD, and say, okay, this is what she deals with. And I sent it to him. My man read the thing. He said, my God, man, and you come to work all happy like nothing's going on? Really? I said, man, I don't put my trust in man. I put my trust in God. So if I see her running around the church, look, I should have ran with her. I know. I see. When you see me shedding a tear, it's tears of joy. I'm not sad because I have a friend in Jesus. I have a friend in Jesus. When we begin to look at the struggles of life, all the things that we have been through, you've heard the testimony of how we used to come to church, riding in that Ford Bronco. I was a youth pastor at the time, so you couldn't tell me nothing. I used to have my little gospel rap playing and have the music so loud the windows to the church be shaking when I pull up to the little storefront church we was in. Oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. Get out and take that cologne and hose down so I won't smell like gas. But people were jealous of us. I guess they wanted that truck where the rust was falling off the side. I don't know. People were jealous because they saw where we were headed spiritually, not naturally. That's why you got to be careful who you tell your business to. That's why you can't tell. Look, that's why I often say when we're dealing with things in this ministry or we're talking about things in this ministry, it's for this ministry. It ain't for everybody else. You got friends who are members of other churches. It's none of their business what we do here at St. Nicholas. Hello, somebody. Yeah. You got to be careful when you're dealing with issues who you speak to. Some people can't handle it. Let's go to point number 2. Know who to tell. Some people have never experienced what you are dealing with, and if you tell them your issues, you send them in a downward spiral. Now they're depressed all day. Now they're ready to throw in the towel. Now they're second guessing God. They're questioning God because of what you're dealing with. Because of what you're dealing with. They may never pray for you, but talk about you. They're going to talk about you for sure. So check your friend list. Check your friend list. Make sure your prayer warrior is at the top of your prayer list. Before I tell anybody else, I'm going to talk to my prayer warrior. Everybody in here needs a prayer warrior. You need somebody that you can call late in the midnight hour, early in the morning and say, listen, I'm dealing with some issues. I need you to pray. Sometimes I get calls early in the morning and it's just saying, the call is just, Pastor, I just need you to pray. I don't need to know what it is, just Pastor, I just need you to pray. The God we serve answers the prayer. He doesn't need a title. He doesn't need an introduction. He doesn't need a conclusion. All he needs to know is that you heard what the person request was and you open your mouth and say, God, help them. He already knows what you're going to pray before you open your mouth. He's God. Know who you're telling and know what you're telling to the individual so that when the day comes, you got a friend standing by you. Now, since you can't trust nobody, how about just tell Jesus? What about that friend? What about that friend that you can talk to anytime? He doesn't have a time schedule. He doesn't have a cutoff time. Look, don't call my house after 8 o'clock. Don't call my house after 9 o'clock. He don't have that type of schedule. Yeah, don't call me after 7. Call me after 7, it's going to be on and popping. I'm telling you right now, that's my downtime. Don't call. God don't have a schedule. He never sleeps, nor does he slumber. He's always listening, always there. Tell a true friend. Tell that friend. Tell that friend. Tell that friend. Point number 3. So we can go home. Point number 3. choose God. That's just simple. Just choose God. Choose God. In all the things that you're dealing with, just choose God. I know it may be a little tough right now, maybe a little shaky, but just choose God. Choose God. Stop trying to make friends. I had a bad habit of wanting my wife to be social. Can I be honest? I had a bad habit of just wanting her to be social because she's really what you call an introvert. She's really an introvert. She's really not social. I know y'all think she is, but she's really not social. You think I'm lying? Try calling her. Anybody ever tried to call her? She ain't gonna answer. I'm just she's not gonna. I'm sorry. She's not gonna answer. She said she's gonna call you. She gonna call you, but she didn't ever tell you when she gonna call you. So she didn't lie. She said I'm gonna call you, but she never told you when she gonna call. But I had a bad thing trying to get her to just come on, babe, just go with me. Just it'll be okay, and you'll fit in. It don't work too good because then they think she's mad because she's not talking. Help us, Jesus. So I've learned that I just got to let her choose God as her friend. Because she can talk to God and he'll listen. She might talk to me and I'll be asleep. They were talking to me the other night. I think I answered about 3 questions. I said I think. I don't know. All I remember, they kept calling my name and said, "You sleep?" I think my response is, no, I'm not sleeping. Resting my eyes. Checking my eyelids for cracks. You can't choose friends and expect friends to give you the proper answer. Job had some friends. Job had some friends that in the moments, in the beginning of the moment, it seemed like they were with him. Now we stopped at chapter 2. If you go into chapter 3 and 4, you realize that the same 3, 4, and 5, you realize that Job's friends begin to tell Job, look here, man, maybe it's something you did. Maybe you made God mad. Are you sure you're living right? Maybe this happened and maybe that happened. Real friends don't try to dissect what is wrong with you. They just want to help you. Real friends will pray for you. Real friends will counsel you when you need counseling. Real friends will love on you when you need to be loved on. That's real friends. What about your friends? So you can't get upset when your friends don't respond the way that you expect them to respond. I told you earlier, you got to choose your friends wisely. Yeah, you got to be careful who you choose as a friend. Got some of us, we got blood relatives. We don't want them to be friends because they'll tell all your business. You got some people you can't even ask to pray for you because the next thing you know, somebody else coming up to you like they got a word from the Lord. Telling me, I heard you were dealing with some issues. Nah, you heard some gossip. So you got to be careful who you choose. As I wanted her to choose different people as friends, she starts speaking to me in that godly language. Like, no, you can't trust them. I'm like, man, come on, baby, you just give it a shot. No. So that's your problem. You trust people right off the bat. I said, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. Give them a chance. She said, no, I'm just telling you what I'm picking up in my spirit about this individual. I don't know. And then I find out she's right again. God speaks. She listens. And I try to follow. I'm a man. Anybody in here that's married already know where I'm going. Your wife know. And you don't want her to know because you want to know first. Choose God. Choose God. As I close, choose God. Write this down. Choose God. In all things we deal with on a personal and spiritual level, not one human can handle the situation like God can. I don't care what you're dealing with. I don't care what's going on in your life. Not one person can handle things like God can. Not one person. Not one person can handle it like God can. I don't care what it is. If it's personal, if it's spiritual, not one human can handle the situation like God can. Stop choosing the wrong friends. Try Jesus. Song says, try Jesus. He's all. Try Jesus. Try him. Job's friends eventually opened their mouths and then started blaming Job for his own troubles. What's friends if they don't have your back? Right? What's friends if they don't have your back? What's friends if they're not willing to go through it? Everybody needs a ride or die. Hello, yeah. Everybody needs a ride or die partner. I'm with you through the thick and the thin. Come hell or high water, I'm right here with you. If you're going out, I'm going out with you. There's a little story, a little movie about the man. What's the name of the movie? The man, every time he thought he was about to die, he says, my time, and he put his arms up. And all the arrows going all past him. He said, I guess it's not my time. And he went back to war. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. You got to be careful who you choose. But if you're going to choose somebody that's going to have your back. Choose wisely. Job had friends that were there in the beginning. The story started off real good, you know. They're screaming and hollering, ripping their clothes and throwing dust up in the air. And then they sat by Job for 7 days and 7 nights. Didn't say a word. Because they understood at that moment how much grief and pain and agony that Job was dealing with. That's what true friends do. Look, ain't no sense in me trying to say anything right now. I'm just going to be quiet. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to talk later. But right now, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to talk to you later, but just right now, I just want you to know that you got a friend. I'm not going to say nothing. But what bothered me was for 7 days and 7 nights, the Bible said they said nothing. Could you at least pray for a brother? Could you at least say, hey, man, look, I just want you to know I'm praying for you. I might not be saying much to you, but I'm talking to God. Oh, but I found that if I put my trust in God, if I really want a true friend, if I can put my friendship around the fact that God sent his son Jesus to die on the cross for me, that's a true friend. He knew that I was headed down a road of destruction. That's a true friend. He knew that I would be blind with sin. That's a true friend. He knew that I was going to have to come to the Y in the road and I was going to have to go left or right. He knew I had to make a choice, so he died for me. That's a true friend. It's a true friend. A true friend that will allow me to make a mistake but pick me up in the middle of my mistake and help me get to my next place. That's a true friend. It's a true friend. That's a true friend. I just need a true friend. I just need somebody that I can lean on when I'm not feeling good. I need somebody that I can pray to and say, listen, well, I'm dealing with some issues and some struggles in my life. And my friend said, don't worry about it. I got your back. I need a friend that when it's time to fight, he's going to fight with me. Yeah, I need a friend that when it's time to throw blows, my friend going to throw blows with me. I need a friend that when I need a lift, they're going to come pick me up and bring me to church. I need a friend. I need a true friend. I need somebody that's going to pray with me, somebody that's going to sing with me when things are happy. I need a friend that's going to hold me when I need to be held. I need a true friend. One thing I found out about true friends, they can get on your nerve and still be your friend. Oh, you'll clap for that one, won't you? You know, because you got some real good friends. One thing I like about a real friend, we can have a spat, but the next 2 minutes we hugging and loving on one another because we understand one another. True friend, true friend. Told you last Sunday, I was upset with God because of what took place. I was upset. I wanted everybody back to this place before we did anything in front of this altar. But I realized my true friend knows more than I know. My true friend knows how to deal with things that I can't deal with. Glory to God. I know it hurt, but look, God, my thought was, God, why now? I mean, could you wait 6 more months? Could you give us 3 more months? Let this thing pass over. You know, can we get past this thing here, and then we can start coming back, and we'll be in fellowship again, and we can love on one another. And God said, I told you, behind this comes something else. Behind this comes something else. And behind that comes something else. It's not over, people. It happened. What was one of the points? It happened. God allowed this to happen because he knows who can deal with it and who can't. Scripture comes to mind. He said, let the wheat and the tare grow together. And the day that I come, I'll do the separating. I'll do the separating. He's separating some people right now. I know you're thinking just about the day of judgment. He's separating some people right now. You've had 365, 385, 392 days, 397 days to deal with COVID-19. And we're still dealing with it. I was watching the news the other day, and we got about 50% of the people have already taken vaccination. Thank you, Jesus. Glory, hallelujah. And now there's a struggle to get the other 50. They think about passing a law to get people to go take the shot. When will the church stand up? When will the church stand up? I remember growing up in church and watching people come through the door sick and be healed before they even get to the altar. I remember growing up and watching people come in just staggering, stinking drunk, just filthy drunk. And by the time they get to the altar, they're on their knees crying out to God and are sober. Miracles still happen. The problem is the church is out of line. I have a friend in Jesus. I have a friend in Jesus. I'm through.